Today is Monday, October 11th, 2004. I am Dory Karp and I am interviewing Helga Levings today. Hello, Helga.
Hi, Dory.
What is your full name, please?
It's Helga Levings. There's my middle name.
What was your maiden name?
It was Keller, K-E-L-L-E-R.
Was your name changed when you came to America?
No,
When and where were you born?
I was born in Germany, January 16th, 1927.
What city were you born in, Helga?
Bacharach am Rhein. Good luck to everybody. It was a small town along the Rhine Valley, right at the Rhine. And that's where we lived. And my father had a butcher store in a small place, and it was mainly a tourist town, and there were only about, I think 6 or 7 families, Jewish families, I mean. That's all there was in this town.
When did you leave Germany?
Left there in July of 1938.
And why did you come to America?
I had a cousin, rather, my mother's nephew, who came here in 1927. And he came, I think, just to venture. He came, I think, with another young man, and they eventually split up, and he went up to Hancock, Michigan. And he met this merchant whose name was Mr. Gardner, and he had Gardner's department store. So my cousin became involved in the business, and of course he married the boss's daughter. And so he was very comfortable, and that is how we were able to come here, because he vouched for us.
Did you go to Hancock, Michigan?
Never. Mm-mm.
You came to Milwaukee?
Yes.
How come you came to Milwaukee?
Because his mother and father, he had brought them over before. There were 10 children in my mother's family, with families. And so only 5 of the families came out. But the ones that did get out came to Milwaukee. And some of them stayed in New York. So it was a natural thing for my family to be there because my mother's brother was there.
Where did you live in Milwaukee?
We lived on the west side. I think it was 45th and I think it's Wright Street, if I remember correctly, in the flat.
Did the family that stayed in Germany survive the
No.
war?
No, they didn't survive. They all ended up in concentration camps. And including my father's family, there were 7 children and families, and they all perished in the Holocaust.
What did your father do in Milwaukee?
In Milwaukee, it was very difficult because it was during the Depression era. 1938 was still pretty tight in terms of money. People were unemployed. So he found a job with a packing house, and he worked there. And the people were Jewish, and I think that's part of the reason they hired him. And he worked very hard. He put in about 100 hours a week for $10 a week. But that was 1938.
Did your family join a synagogue?
Bethel. We joined Temple Bethel, and which pretty much fit into our lives as we had it in Germany, because we belonged, there was only one temple, and that was a traditional synagogue. So we celebrated all the Jewish holidays. We had kosher home, and we observed all of the holidays, including Sukkot, Simchas Torah. We stayed home. So that pretty much continued when we came here.
Did you attend religious school at Temple Bethel?
Yes. I attended both Sunday school and Hebrew school. I'd taken Hebrew in Germany, and then I continued here, and I probably took Hebrew till I was about 12 or so.
Were you aware of anti-Semitism when you were in Germany?
Yes. I was 11 years old when we came over. So prior to that, there were a lot of things going on. I mean, they were all in uniforms, of course, and what have you. And the one incident, and it's funny how as a child you remember, and as you grow up, you remember one incident that isn't as horrifying, but apparently it left an impression on me, which was being in school. My brother and sister did not look particularly Semitic. I did. So the teacher decided that he was going to show the children what a Jew looks like. So he put me in front of the class and he said, "This is what a Jew looks like." And it's always left me with that. And now I walk around saying, "This is what a Jew looks like," and I feel pretty good about it.
How many siblings do you have?
I had a brother and a sister. They both passed away.
Were you aware of anti-Semitism when you came to Milwaukee?
My reaction to the people in Milwaukee was very interesting. We lived in a flat, and the people downstairs were German extraction. And they loved that we were German. And the gentleman always wanted me to speak German to them, which I refused to do. And I don't know if I ever did anything as much in a hurry as I did trying to learn English, because there was no way I was going to revert back to the German in any form or fashion, which is why I would never go back to Germany.
You've never returned to
Never.
Germany?
Never.
How have you been involved in the Milwaukee Jewish community?
Well, let's see. I was involved in Hadassah and Ort. In Hadassah, I was a president of one of the groups when we were big, when we had thousands in Hadassah, which we don't have at this time. And I became very involved in Federation right after I got married. I got married in 1956. Then they had what was called the Young Leadership Group or whatever, and I got involved in that. And then as the years went on, I became involved in the campaign and took on some leadership roles in the campaign, like orientations and all that kind of thing.
And to whom were you married?
I was married to Jack Levings.
And did you have children?
We had 2 children. We have a daughter, Connie, and a daughter, Laura.
Do they live in Milwaukee?
One lives in Milwaukee, Connie lives in Milwaukee, and Laura lives in Seattle, Washington.
Do you have grandchildren?
No, I do not.
How do you see the present and the future of the Milwaukee Jewish community?
I think it's vibrant, and I think if we can hold on to more of our young people being involved, the more we get them involved, the more vibrant it will be. I think we've got so many things going that should interest everyone in the community.
Do your feelings influence your involvement in the Jewish Historical Society?
Yes, I think so, because I think the history of our people is so important. And even on an individual basis, when we work on it and we see where people came from and how they have lived their lives, and it just is fascinating to me. It really is.
Is there a lesson in life that you have learned that has carried you through?
You know, that's hard to say, a lesson, because there are many lessons in life. And the one thing I'm so grateful for, and that's really not a lesson, is being in this country of so much freedom. But I think what I think about more as an individual is that a lesson is something we learn for the rest of our lives, is to try to be a better human being, Jew or non-Jew. I, as a Jew, feel this commitment that till the day you die, you should try to improve yourself. And with that, the world will be enriched.
Do you have any regrets?
No.
Well, what was the happiest moment of your life?
Well, certainly getting married was wonderful. But I think coming to this country, it was really a very exciting thing. We were on a boat for about 11 days, ship. And everyone had primed us about when you get to the United States, you will see the Statue of Liberty. And that was very exciting. That was a memory that I'll always have.
And what was the saddest moment in your life?
I think the death of my husband was very sad. And I guess the death of a lot of people in my immediate family were very sad.
How would you like to be remembered?
This is terrible to say, but I don't care.
Oh.
I was almost going to use a different word, but then I controlled myself.
Is there anything that you wanted to talk about that I didn't mention, or you brought some things?
I brought some things, but I'm not sure that, I mean, unless we want to show them on the...
Let's see what they are and show them to us.
Okay, this was my immigration identification card when I was 11 years old. And let's see. This picture is important to me because it is my whole family. As we left Germany, we were visiting an uncle, and this is how we looked in 1938, July 15th, 1938.
Can you just move it a little further towards me?
Towards you.
Yeah. And where was that?
That was in Germany.
In what city?
And it was a city called Bad Godesberg, which is also on the Rhine. And this is where my mother's brother lived. We went to say goodbye to them. Okay. What did we say this was? Oh, this is my alien. I'm just thinking what the date is. Oh, 1942, we had to register as enemy aliens.
Really?
This picture I just took because that is the way we lived. My brother, my sister, and I as kids, we used to go boating and swimming in the Rhine. And this is our pass to immigrate. Just think that's, I'm trying to remember. Oh, I think it's my mother and father's picture because we as children didn't need to have our pictures on there. This was what you had to show in order to try to come. I think that's pretty much it. The rest is, my wedding picture, I don't think, at the Chronicle. I don't know that we care about that.
Oh, what do you have? What did you bring?
It's just the picture, remember when they used to do that?
In the Chronicle.
The Chronicle used to do a number. And then as I became active in the community, we used to do all of these. This was in, I'll tell you in a minute, I think this was 62 perhaps. And that was me down here. And we were doing orientation sessions. Do we still do those? I don't know. We used to orient them how to solicit. You see that picture, Esther Leah? Sure, isn't that wonderful? And let's see what was this? Oh, this was a thing called Style Setter Division, and I'm in it somewhere here. We probably have all those somewhere in the archives already. Are you sure you want to see all of these?
Whatever you'd like to show.
It's sort of a show and tell thing.
You did some interesting work when you went back to work in the city.
Yeah.
What did you do?
Oh, when I went back to work in, my husband passed away in '77, and I think I went back to work, I was only 50. I did a lot of volunteer work then, and finally I decided I really needed to get a job. So I went to work at the Milwaukee Ballet in the accounting department, and I was there for 10 years. And by that time I was 69, and I said, okay, hang it up, and then I thought, what am I going to do? And I found a job at the Milwaukee Performing Arts, and I loved it there. I really did. By one morning, I got up at the age of 74 and said, okay, that's enough now. So now, of course, it took me a while to find my place back in the volunteer work because I wasn't going to stay home. You know, it's so fascinating. I was just thinking on my way down here when my mother-in-law was 68, and I know she was active in what they called then the orphan home. But when she was 68, she said it's now up to the young people. And I'm trying to relate to 68 when I'm almost 78 and thinking, we don't feel that way. I mean, we want to go on and on being active in the community and making a difference. But I think they felt old, and I think that generation just was older. So I'm very grateful that we can still participate, and we're allowed to.
Would you say your mother was a role model for you as a woman?
Yes, she was. My kids say I'm like my mother. But she was a very hardworking woman. She was very helpful in terms of seeing that the household was just right. And she just kept everything going. She was really a strong person.
Who was a role model for you as a Jew? A teacher, a relative, a rabbi, a neighbor, a parent?
Oh yes, I think the Judaism that I feel is really comes from family.
Mm-hmm.
They ingrained that in me. There's no doubt about it. So it's really family, mother, father.
Is there anything else you would like to add to this interesting conversation?
Nothing more. And thank you. It was not as painful as I thought it was going to be.
Well, thank you very much, Helga.
You're welcome. You did good.